Do you want to add a comment in your Excel formula? Maybe to explain what the formula does or anything specific about an argument? Well, there is a way to do this. In fact, there are 3 ways to do this. So in this video, I'm going to show you these 3 methods that you can use to add comments right within your Excel formulas. Let's see what these are. So here I have these names in column A and their scores in column B, and I have used this XLOOKUP formula that fetches the score for whatever name is here in cell D2. Now I want to add a comment in this formula. Now this is a very simple formula, but let's say you're working with a complicated formula and that needs some context. So you want to add context in a comment. So to do that, I'm going to use this new Excel function called the let function. Now let is available in Excel with Microsoft 365. If you are not using that version, then you can use the second method that I've covered in this video that works in every version. But the best way to do this is if you have the let function. Now the let function allows you to assign numerical values or text values or calculations to variables. So what we can do is we can write our comment and then assign it to a variable and then not use that variable ever in the formula. So that would still work. Our calculation is going to work as expected, but we would have a comment. Let me show you. So here, let me first copy this formula because this is the result. This is the formula that I want to use. And then within the let function, let me show you in the formula bar. So here, I'm going to go to the next line and I'm going to assign this entire calculation to a variable. So let's call it fx. And then I would have the entire calculation, which is the entire XLOOKUP formula or whatever formula you have. Now what this does is this formula's value is stored in this variable called fx. Then I can go to the next line and I can continue to have variables and assign values to it. So in this case, I can have something like comment1 and then assign a value or a text value to it. So in this case, I can have something in double quotes. I can say this is an example comment. So this becomes the value that would be stored in this variable. But now you can see I already have a comment in the let function. And finally, once you are done with the comment, you can just specify this variable which holds the value of your original formula, because the last argument of the let function should always be the calculation whose value you want to return. So in this case, I would just use fx. And now when I hit enter, it gives me the same result as this XLOOKUP formula. And you can check this. If I come here and I make this mark, then it gives me 52, which is right. But now I have a comment right within the formula itself. So this is how you can add a comment. But let's say you want to add multiple comments. You can do that as well. You can come to the next line and you can just continue to have these variables and then have comments within the variables. So let me show you here. Let's have another variable. Let's call it comment2, then comma, then have another comment. Let's call it example comment, and you can write anything you want here and then comma. And when I hit enter, it still works. And you can see I have 2 comments. These comments could be anywhere. It could be above the fx variable or it could be anywhere. The only thing you need to take care of is that the last argument should be the result that you want, the calculation that you want. Now, in this case, one limitation you need to know is that each of these comments, the value of these comments cannot be more than 255 characters. That's the limitation within Excel formulas. But in my experience, 255 characters is long enough for a comment. So you can have multiple comments and every comment cannot be more than 255 characters. Now, as I said, let function is the best way to add a comment into your Excel formula. But if you do not have access to the let function, let me show you a method that is going to work in any Excel version. So here again, I have the same data set and I have the same formula and I want to add a comment in this formula. Now the method I'm going to use here is by using the if function. So the if function is available in all versions of Excel. So no matter what version you're using, you will be able to use this method. Now the if function takes 3 arguments. The first one is the logical test that returns either a true or a false, and based on which it either returns the second argument. If the value of this first argument is true, then the value of second argument is returned, else the value of the third argument is returned. Now let me come here and copy this formula because this is the result that I want. And within the if function, I'm going to manually specify the first argument as true. And now the second argument is going to be the formula that I want, the value of which I want. Now what I'm doing is I'm saying in the if function, the first argument would always be true. So no matter what happens, it would always give me the result of the second argument, which has my function. Now, if I just close the bracket here and hit enter, it would give me the right result because it will never go to the third argument, which means that although I'm not getting the third argument in the result, I can still use the third argument for my comment. So I can just come here, and in the third comment, I could just type anything I want. So I can come here and I can say example comment, and you can type your comment. Again, it could be up to 255 characters long. And now when I hit enter, you can see I have the same result. It works. And I also have the comment right within the formula. So this is a smart way where we are trying to short circuit the if function, where we make sure that if function would always return the second argument. So our formula becomes the second argument, and then we can use the third argument for our comment. And here is a third method that would again work in any version of Excel, but there is a limitation. This would only work if your formula returns a numeric value. So here I have this formula XLOOKUP that returns a numeric value, so I can use this method where all I'm going to do is in the end I'm going to come and say plus n. Now n is a function that converts non-number value to a number value. So if I give it a text value as a comment, it is going to convert it into 0. And because my XLOOKUP function returns a numeric value, if I add 0 to it, that would not change the result of the formula. So here within the n function, I can come here and in double quotes, I can type my comment. Again, it could be up to 255 characters long, and it is not going to change your formula. The limitation of this method is that it will only work if your formula returns a numeric value. But I think this is the easiest of all the three methods. So these are three ways you can use to add comment into your Excel formula. The best method according to me is the let function because it allows you to have multiple comments and it is also easier to read. Then you can use the if function, which again works in any situation and in any version. And if your formula returns a numeric value, then you can use this n function technique. I hope you found this video useful. If there is any other method that you know that can be used, please let me know in the comment section. Also, please subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you never miss out on any new Excel tips video I come up with. Thank you and have a nice day.